Thank you, Sanjeev, for joining today on Let's Talk Business Series by RealtyNXT.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
So, Sanjeev, I really want to know from you first is, what was that spark moment that made you feel that I'm going to build Propall?
So I was actually interning at this company called Mercer Consulting, and that's where I sort of got introduced to investing into real estate, to be honest. And that's where the entire interest towards real estate came up. I wanted to do something in real estate, but did not know what exactly. Started building towards trying to find problems in the real estate sector. And like, there are multiple problems that people can solve for in this industry, and that's how we entered the space.
But why real estate? Because I'll be honest, in India, real estate earlier, it was very disorganized. It's still not that structured. And that makes every, I would say, young entrepreneur get a bit more agitated. So what made you choose this sector?
So real estate, to be honest, is a very conventional sector in the sense of how it operates. So for example, the entire AI trend that's going on, right? It's still a buzzword in real estate. It's not something that's come into real business yet. So the adoption is slow. It's still, works very traditionally in that sense. And that's why we want to sort of enter this and be that sort of catalyst in the space. And that sort of excited both me and my co-founder Aniket to build something and actually add value to companies and help companies digitally transform in its truest sense.
So if I had to ask your closest friends that is Sanjeev the visionary leader or it's a hard-nosed engineer, how would you describe yourself?
I would call myself a problem solver, both in a good and bad way, because I try to solve every problem that I probably see. Sometimes it's not the right thing to basically roll up your sleeves and try solving some problems. Some problems are best left the way it is, but most often than not, most people would call me a problem solver.
So as an entrepreneur, it is a saying that once you become an entrepreneur, you have to rewire certain, I would say, personality traits of yours to be in that system, right? So if I want to understand, Sanjeev, what was that one personal trait that you had to reinvent to build Propall? What would that be?
I think you got to sort of evolve more than reinvent, to be honest. Considering how I've been brought up, to what I studied, to the kind of people I met in different colleges I went to. I think that constant evolution is what's required, and even in business, right? We have to sort of iterate quickly, pivot fast. The idea with which we started Propall is not what we do today, to be honest, right? So I think we've been in that constant evolution phase, and that's kept us on our toes, and that's what has given us the small amount of acceptance that we have already received from the market, and we're already working with the largest construction companies in the country as of today.
So tell our viewers, what is Propall and how are you solving problems? What are the solutions you're providing?
So Propall is a AI-driven construction technology platform. We enable construction companies to convert all their architectural drawings into interactive and configurable 3D walkthroughs, right? And we enable them to do this in a matter of minutes, where the industry takes weeks to create all of these kind of collateral material, renders, walkthroughs, etc. as of today. Along with this, we are also providing additional benefits or additional products, such as directly deriving your bill of quantities and bill of materials from the 3D models that we generate, right? Or enabling you to create AI-driven mood boards. So we're constantly sort of evolving as a company, like I said, also introducing new products that make monotonous jobs far more easy and increasing the capability and efficiency of people in the space. That's what we are doing with AI. And to summarize, we build digital construction tools for the Indian market as of today.
So as you said, you're cutting down the renders that takes weeks into, I would say, few days or minutes, right? What is the main reason behind this speed? What is the real innovation behind it?
So we've built our own custom game engine that can do this as well, right? There are walkthroughs, for example. You can walk through the space rather than watch a video. It gives you complete control, gives you complete freedom of movement. You can understand every nook and corner of how your home will look like when it is physically being built, or if you are building an entire mall or a hotel, as a decision maker, you can visualize how big the lobby is, etc. While you're walking through the space, like in real life, for example, you might not like a few things, right? That's where the entire inefficiency in the design process comes in, where when you're walking through the space, you don't like the wallpaper, you don't like something, and then you have to go back to your architect, say that this is not what I'm looking at. The architect creates a mood board, goes through the entire rendering process again, and then comes back to you and says, this is what we can do. What if you don't like that as well? We give that sort of, we've innovated where you can walk through the space, you don't like something, you can change it the way you want it to, right? And continue walking. So your architect and you can sort of in real time make those decisions, bringing down a lot of inefficiency. And for the architect, going from just a 2D floor plan into an interactive and configurable 3D model saves weeks of time.
Right.
That also saves a lot of cost, because one person as an architect can work on a few projects at one point in time, right? But if you're saving down that time, he has more time to do more things or take up more projects, so directly impacting the top line. Then that's just one aspect of what we do, that is time saving. Efficiency building is what we essentially look at, and renders and walkthroughs are just one thing we do. Again, for example, bill of quantities and bill of materials, that itself takes weeks.
Right.
And as you change more things in the real estate, your bill of quantities and bill of materials constantly need to change. It's a manual process today, right? And we've automated that. As soon as you change something, your bill of quantities and bill of materials automatically change, right? And as soon as you upload a new floor plan that you've changed or modified, your 3D model is generated automatically. So all of those things, we're able to do it at scale for large scale construction companies, and we've seen great acceptance from both a time saving standpoint and efficiency increasing standpoint, as well as humans, we don't know our potential yet, right? With AI, we're basically increasing the potential of people in the industry, and we're tapping that unknown potential that people actually have in the space.
But tell me, before Propall was there, walkthroughs were happening, right? What was the need gap that you noticed that is not being discovered or done in a manner which is required for the current scenario in Indian real estate? What is the differentiator points that we would want to know from you is how Propall is different from the rest of the other competitors present in the market? And as I said, walkthroughs has been happening for a very long time. So where is Propall making the new innovative solutions that we could not see earlier?
For sure, right? So design communication, to be honest, needs to happen as long as there has been large scale building of homes or production of homes. There has been design communication, because you will not be able to sell if you don't communicate design properly, right? As an architect, if I don't communicate design to you, you will not understand what you're actually investing yourself into. So it used to happen in different formats before, but for now, considering how the technology has evolved, we've still stuck to the olden ways of communicating design, which is an architect outsources it to a 3D design agency. A 3D design agency takes weeks or months to give you high quality renders, and those are just static still images, right? And that is passed on to the the decision maker, and the decision maker approves or disapproves it or asks for changes, and that entire cycle needs to repeat.
Right.
So we feel that entire cycle is very inefficient, considering the architect is the creative brain here. The architect is the person building the real estate, and he understands the client better because he's in direct contact with the client. And if we enable him to become more efficient in generating those renders in a matter of minutes, he will be able to do a far better job rather than outsourcing it to a 3D design agency right? This is for still renders. But if you want to create videos, it takes months. It also costs multiple lakhs of rupees depending on the quality of video. Villa project in Bangalore itself. It was a large scale villa, Spanish themed one. We tried our best to get the best output, but it was not as seamless as we thought it was, the experience. But thankfully, the developer was very, appreciative of what we did. Also very accepting of the lower quality of output that we actually got compared to what we said that we will get. But we've seen great support in the industry in that sense. A lot of real estate developers, a lot of construction companies have been with us, even though we've sort of messed up a couple of times. And that's been really endearing in that sense, where people are willing to accept as long as they're seeing that, okay, you're trying to do something, we're there to support for you. And those are things that really matter as a business. And the first walkthrough, like I said, was accepted, was paid for, but we ourselves were not happy with the quality of output, and from then to now, I think there is a day and night of a difference.
So rather than this is it, then I should ask us, what was the harshest feedback that you received? And you made a point that harshest feedback is converted into now being a strong product of Propall.
Right. So more than feedback, what's happened is we have been limited to the word walkthrough, right? Although we do multiple things, and walkthrough also, like you said, is something that's been used for a long time. The word walkthrough, at least. Although what is a walkthrough has changed, but the word walkthrough has remained. So most often than not, when we try to communicate this, people think they already have seen this before, right? But they don't understand that it's not a video, right? Most often than not, if when I say walkthrough, they think it's a video and we're just a 3D designing agency, right? But we're not a 3D designing agency. We build software that they themselves can use and generate experiential 3D walkthroughs from just 2D floor plans in a matter of minutes on their phone, right? That's what we essentially do. But along with this, there are more technical aspects to it. You can directly connect our output to your BIM software, or you can generate the bill of quantities and bill of materials, or you can generate AI-driven mood boards in order to save a lot of time. So those are things that we failed to communicate, but that's something that through your medium, I'd like to sort of educate everybody that these are things that you can derive from our software also, and that can add huge amounts of value considering where in the design phase you are for the particular project.
Right. So let's deep dive a bit further on that, because as you said, walkthrough, whenever I have spoken to any developer, they always imagine AR, VR, right? That is the limit to the definition of walkthrough. So tell our viewers, and especially our industry major stakeholders who would be interested in this, who all are your right customer or stakeholder who can make advantage of this software from a point of an architect and also developer. Stage wise, if you could explain us in a detailed manner what all apart from walkthrough is this software all about, where all the nitty-gritties can be done, and especially if a developer is taking. A lot of people feel that maybe with my legacy software it cannot go with, or maybe it might not integrate with my internal backend process. So let's make it simpler for everyone to understand how your software can be in their system, how they can well execute it, and maybe do not require different skill set as such.
Right. So we enable an end-to-end design workflow, or a generative design workflow as you call it. Right. So if I were to bifurcate each stage of the design process, the first phase is when you talk to the customer, you understand his requirements, and then you create a mood board for the customer.
Right.
Right. The mood board creation usually takes anywhere between 2 days to 1 week, or if it even takes longer if it's a larger project. Right. So this entire 1 week or any longer than a week can be done in a matter of minutes using our software by architects, because we enable AI to decide a lot of things that you don't have to break your head on, right? You can just focus on the creative elements. How do I want it to be is what you can decide, and everything else is gotten done by AI, right? So that's the first step. Once your mood board is ready, then you start drawing the floor plan. You can also generate floor plans using our platform, right? And all our floor plans, we also give an AI-driven space optimization score. How well have you utilized the space that's given? We also give a Vastu compliance score. Is it Vastu compliant or not? These are things that if you want, you can enable it. If you don't want, you don't have to enable it, because most people believe in it, or like half of them don't believe in it. So we don't force it on your plans, but it's something that you can derive from our software. So that's the next step. This is all for core architecture, right? The third phase is communicating design. Now you have a mood board, you have a floor plan, and you want to communicate how the space will look like, because as an architect now you're able to imagine how the space might look like, right? That's where you need renders, walkthroughs, or videos. All of these three things you can generate in a matter of minutes, because we already have these two. Our input for generating an experiential walkthrough where the decision maker can walk through with complete freedom of movement is just a mood board and a floor plan. That's about it.
Right.
Right. And then post that, once the decision maker is okay with everything, you would want to have a bill of quantities and bill of materials basis of what's gone into the space, right, in order to move into physical construction. We also enable you to derive that instantaneously as you make changes, right? In the walkthrough also, if the decision maker wants to make any sort of changes, you don't have to go back and forth with your architect. You can make those changes in real time, and the architect will get a note of what has been changed, why has it been changed, etc. So that's what we've enabled. And for real estate developers specifically, if you're coming up with a new project, the same process applies internally to their architects or their architecture agency. They can enable their architecture agency to become far more efficient, save cost and time. And then when they're actually planning to sell, the same walkthrough can be used in order to communicate design with potential buyers, so they know exactly what the buyer is sort of looking into, because model flats cannot be built for all flats, right? If you're coming up with 10 configurations, you can have only 1 or 2 model flats. But using this software or using Propall, you can basically create a virtual model flat for all the 10 configurations, showcase exactly what the buyer is interested, help him understand how it would be to enter his house from the corridor to walking through the exact spaces, and it can be as accurate as you want it to be. The exact dimensions of the tiles, the exact placement of the electrical units, the exact placement of the fire sprinkler units, etc.
Right.
Right. So the buyer has far more understanding of what he's buying himself into, and then this has, out of, like I said, after 300 projects, we've seen the conversion rate goes up by 30% if he's seeing something that's more experiential in nature, as well as exactly what he's interested in buying.
So tell me, because in interior design, what I'm understanding, a lot of these architect uses different kind of software, and it's happening mostly in silo, right? It's not centralized. So correct me if I'm wrong, Propall software is going to be a centralized where every solution is provided. So just to name few, for example, I've seen interior designers working in some software of Autodesk, then working in SketchUp, and then putting it all together, right? How Propall is making sure these silo decision making is not happening, and this silo, I would say, the creativity or the use case is not happening.
So just to draw the baselines or the floor plans, right? Most architecture firms use either CAD, some version of CAD, maybe not from Autodesk, but some version of CAD, or they use SketchUp as of today. And this is mostly prevalent in India. Where we go outside of India, there are different softwares again that come into picture. But sticking to the Indian context, these are the two softwares that most people operate in. And you can still continue to use these softwares, and our input file format can be a CAD file or can be a SketchUp model. Beyond that is when you see a lot of softwares coming into picture. Somebody uses Revit, somebody uses Lumion, Enscape, multiple other softwares, right, that are there in the market. Those things are, like you said, operate in silos. Everybody has a different file format. Some softwares have some capability, and then you need to sort of download the file, input into another file, and then for another sort of set of capabilities. That's what we are sort of removing as inefficiency as well. Once you go from CAD or SketchUp, you don't have to go anywhere else. Everything can be done here on our software. If you don't want to use CAD or SketchUp, you can basically do everything on our software. That's what we are actually getting to. And we want to create more, productivity solutions to our customers. That's where we call ourselves a digital construction tool company and not just AI 3D walkthrough company, because that's where we're getting at. Right now we've arrived at the bill of quantities and bill of materials, like I mentioned. But beyond that, we want to get into more technical aspects in order to increase productivity or increase efficiency of stakeholders in order to go into physical construction from a bare design or a bare floor plan.
So in the continuation, you said we are going beyond that, meaning there will be a software that can help even the architect and those who are working in AutoCAD and SketchUp to do everything in Propall?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like I said, we are an end-to-end generative design workflow. That's what we want to truly enable to our potential customers, stakeholders, people who want to try us out, right? So essentially, you can go from an idea of building a home to actually having everything that is necessary to go into physical construction. That's what we want to be.
That's interesting because, as you said, in interior design or even in developer front, we have seen these softwares taking place, but it's more on silo front. But putting it all centralized is where I think Propall can help and get this done. But what would be the major challenge you feel once you get into this in making would be major challenge for you for the adoption side for both the parties?
So adoption will definitely be a challenge for sure, because that's something that real estate, to be honest, takes some time for adoption. It's not necessarily a bad thing because they want to test it out, try it out, make sure it works, and then sort of looking at adopting it at large scale, because there's a lot of stakes are high in the real estate space, right?
Right.
And that's essentially why a lot of softwares are not adopted very well, and that completely is understandable as well from a person building software. So essentially what we want to do is not just bring all the softwares together or not sort of remove the entire silos bit. We want to create a productive or efficiency increasing tool, something that will dramatically increase your efficiency, cut down cost and time for you. Because what's happening right now is most companies that will not adopt AI will be left behind, and you got to sort of innovate or got to sort of iterate internally on how you can increase productivity of people inside the organization. And that's the only way to continue and stay ahead of the curve for most people in real estate as well, or in fact every other industry that like we see it. So that's what we want to be. We want to be an end-to-end generative design workflow solution rather than creating one particular thing. But to be honest, for adoption to increase, for us to get to somewhere, we need to be very good at one thing first, and then we can add multiple layers to it or multiple solutions that our customers might actually adopt. So that's what we are very good at today, is enabling you to go from a floor plan to a full scale interactive and configurable 3D walkthrough in a matter of minutes. That's what we're really good at today. And we're continuing to build on top of that by giving more productivity solutions and more AI-driven products that our customers will benefit.
Would you say later Propall will be also known as the Canva of tool for the interior designers and to the developers?
So for the next 2-3 years is what I can foresee. We will continue to be B2B, so we will not go the Canva route. We will completely be focused on a B2B solution. We will only work with companies, right? So, but we will be that sort of end-to-end, like I said, design tool for construction companies. So you can call us Canva for the B2B space.
Yeah, why I say Canva is because the user interface is so easy and so easily deployable for every age group that this is where I see Propall also becoming as one of the very easy tools that can be easily deployed and easy used.
Canva has done an incredible job in how easy they make everything for graphic design and everything, right? So we might not be that easy to use considering we're a far more technical tool, and construction itself is a very technical industry in that sense. So it might not be for the person. So if I'm building my own home, I might not be the person using the software. It will still be for professionals, architects. So we will be a professional tool, and we will sort of be that tool which enables you to become a far more productive architect. If you're an architect today, you can be a super architect with Propall.
Right. But don't you think you will get some kind of challenge from the major players like Autodesk, Nemshek India? Do you feel
sure.
there will be a huge competition from them?
Definitely. So these are players which have existed for multiple decades, also have revenues in multiple billions of dollars, and they definitely will have more resources than what we can sort of deploy. But like I said, AI has made this sort of level playing ground for everybody at this stage, where you can push out features, products in a far more quicker manner. And for us, the stakes are far lower compared to Autodesk or Nemshek, right? So we can be far more efficient in that way, where we can see, adopt and iterate faster than anybody, and we can be far more agile, and that's going to give us our competitive edge. But like I said, they have more distribution, and that's where we need to focus on, and I'm sure we can sort of compete with Autodesk at some point in time in the near future.
And as you said, it's right that whoever uses the AI tool in a more efficient manner, the games and the rules have now changed, because now it's become like complete who is on the quick, efficient way, providing the solution, also be able to execute it in the same space.
Definitely.
So as we were discussing about the competition part, do you think Propall will scale faster being in India or outside of it?
So how we see it is, we want to capture one market first. So for example, by one market, I mean one micro market, not even as India or another country. We are prevalent mostly in Bangalore as of today, right? We've worked with developers and construction companies in Bombay, and now we've just started looking at Hyderabad, right? But we haven't worked with most of India in that sense. So that's what we want to capture first, like crack one micro market where we have at least 80-90% of the market. And we've not done that in Bangalore as well. We are probably at 30-40% of the market in Bangalore, and we want to capture that Bangalore market first, and then look at Hyderabad, because it's a very similar market in that sense, and then look at Bombay, because the Bombay real estate, I mean, people spend far more compared to any other city in India, and then look at other cities in India before we look elsewhere. But from a enabling standpoint, or like how the technology is built, it's a global software in that sense. Anybody in the world can use it. So there are multiple hotspots in the world that can be great opportunities for us, but we'd like to sort of have this strategy where we crack one micro market and then look at diversifying across.
So when it comes to tier 2 cities, do you think that is the market where you will be also looking out to make sure your tech or the software is deployed?
Absolutely. I think anybody who considers themselves an architect or a creative person building a home or any sort of real estate, from a home to a public infrastructure, you're building an airport or a metro station, we want Propall to be used in order to get that design phase completed using Propall and then move into physical construction.
That's where I was coming to. So it's not just about home, right? When it comes to infra projects also, be the airport, be even maybe the bridge, or be the smart city kind of infrastructure projects happening in the pipeline of tier 2 cities, will Propall also be part of it? Like the software can be easily used for any kind of project, it's not just limited to residential?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, even today, a lot of large construction companies that are names that most people know are also using Propall to build public infrastructure projects which are far bigger. We've seen so many people building universities, schools, hospitals. In fact, one of our first customers was, our second or third customer I think, was a person building almost a 5,000 bed super specialty hospital on our software. And that was almost more than 1 million square feet, right? So you can build anything that you can imagine on our software.
Okay. So I want to understand, we have spoken about Propall journey, the software. From your perspective, I want to know, when it comes to Indian real estate PropTech ecosystem, right? Where do you see in next 4 years this particular ecosystem will evolve in comparison to global market? Because what we are noticing right now, more of the enablement tools are there in terms of marketing sales, but less on the back-end front. So do you think in coming years the same scenario will be playing, or there will be I know it's a huge way of prediction, but what are you seeing in the current market, how the changes are happening, especially in PropTech?
So in PropTech specifically, like you rightly mentioned, there are more companies building tools in the sales and marketing space. And naturally, considering that's where most amount of people or most amount of developers and construction companies spend money, because end of the day they would like to sort of dispose the property quicker so they can start their next project. That's where they earn their revenue from, and it makes sense to spend on marketing and sales. At any industry, people have budgets for marketing and sales, and it's easy to build tools in that sense that directly plugs into that marketing sales budget, so you have easier adoption, right? But I think the entire industry is seeing an overhaul at this point, because a lot of COVID was one such enabler for us, where a lot of offline businesses went online, right? And a lot of things changed, and even the most traditional developer has gone online today, right? And going forward, we see that same kind of change that will happen over the next 3 years. Why we have a 3-year time frame is because, like I said, technology needs to be tried and tested because the stakes are very high in real estate,
Right.
Right? Because there's a lot of money involved. It's large scale projects. So that's why we feel that adoption might take 2 to 3 years. But again, this is going to be the sort of catalyst event in real estate where a lot of technology that they use will change.
Yes.
And most people will not be replaced, according to me. Although the Autodesk survey, the Design and Make report of 2025 says that almost 49% of decision makers in the space are sort of apprehensive of the use of AI, or they feel that it's a disruption rather than a positive impact. And that's naturally understanding, considering all of the negativity surrounding AI, because everybody is considering themselves as an AI company today, although it's generic programming that they're doing. And that's caused a lot of misconception in people's head on what is the real tangible impact of AI. Right? Most people don't see it as of today, to be honest, in our space, at least in the PropTech space. And for that to really come into picture, it'll take a year or so. And to go beyond sales and marketing also, it'll take a year or so. So we feel over the next 3 years, it's going to become a very level playing ground for even a person building 3 homes versus a person building 3,000 homes as a real estate developer. The technology availability, the capability, the cost, everything would remain the same. And this would just make skilled people far more skilled or efficient. The efficiency in the industry will go up dramatically. And a lot of, for example, things such as creativity can be actually used rather than you having to do monotonous tasks. You can sort of get rid of that, let AI do that for you, and you can focus on the creative aspects of it. Or for example, safety aspects of it. You can have AI to detect cracks, detect multiple things that might come up in the future, making buildings far more safer, far more sustainable. So there will be a lot of changes for the good that will come up in the industry. And we'll see a lot more companies also building things that are beyond sales and marketing in order to increase efficiency and productivity of the entire space. And that's what I see will happen.
So tell me frankly, because I've noticed when it comes to technology adoption, especially in real estate in India, it's always been slow. When pandemic, as you said, happened, then the use case of demand of AR, VR was happening, which was already there present. The startups were present. It's just that they did not realize how it can be helpful because it can be easily deployed. So during pandemic, we saw the wave of AR, VR. Then we've noticed when this AI talk has happened, the other sectors have quickly adopted in a different effective manner. But in real estate, I'm noticing we are still talking about those AI chatbots, the AI agents, still focus on the sales and marketing side to it. What I believe is, because when I see the global market, how the softwares like yours have also evolved in other countries where the integration is back and front end on the more efficiency, more cost optimization, everything, which real estate is still not integrating that well when it comes to this. With the buzzword of AI, we are just doing this agents and bots. But do you think it's the challenges not because of understanding of technology? Maybe it's the hindrance what the decision makers are there. Maybe they are not aware of how these softwares can be actually utilized, and they've been in the system, I would say, for that long that they are not understanding the tech adoption of this particular part, especially when it comes to AI.
So I think I'll break down the answer into 2 parts. One is the AR VR aspect of how that evolved over the last decade, right? Even a company like Facebook renamed themselves as Meta, considering the metaverse would be the next big thing. But like we can see, VR was not something that was adopted very well across the world. No, Apple also failed with their VR headset. That did not work out very well for such a company like Apple, who did probably the best job in building the best VR headset in the world. Maybe cost, maybe something else, people did not buy it. So even now we see that even a company like Meta, who renamed themselves as Meta, is focusing on AR rather than VR. They're going the Ray-Ban Meta glass or Ray-Ban glasses rather than the Quest Pro headset.
Yes.
That's become their focus, and that's where we see a lot of evolution will happen on that front, because VR did not get adopted by most of the world, right? So that is the first part, and that was definitely a catalyst where a lot of people that generated a lot of interest in real estate, because you could showcase properties that people can sitting far away could exactly imagine how the space would look like wearing a VR headset. But today that there is no VR headset, what will you do about how do you showcase your property? It needs to be done on the phone or some other more efficient channel, right? And AR again it's augmented reality, right? So you're superimposing something on the real world. If that person is on site or is at home, he wears his Ray-Ban Meta glasses and then he sees how the space might look like. That's AR for you. But in VR, if he's wearing a VR headset and trying to experience how the space would be, it's slightly more inefficient again because availability of hardware is difficult, expense of the hardware is difficult. The person buying the home will not, or buying the real estate will not have the hardware. You got to provide that for him. So there are some logistics issues that come into picture in that sense. And that's where we are playing a game where it is VR compatible, but it's not only on VR. You can use it on your phone or you can use it on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses, right? So that's how we are enabling it. Coming to the second question, I think adoption it was, if I'm not wrong.
AI.
Right, AI. Right. So the easiest way to implement AI is definitely chatbot or somewhere where you're trying to derive tangible output. Because everybody, when they invest in new technology, they want to see the results, right? And the easiest way to generate quantifiable results is in sales or marketing or in fact in customer support, where your number of people doing customer support goes down and the customer's query is resolved in a far more efficient fashion. So that's where a lot of real estate developers specifically adopted AI. But again, like I said, AI is still a buzzword, to be honest, in the space. The real tangible impact of AI has not yet kicked in our space, and it will kick in over the next 1 to 2 years is what I feel. Chatbots are a good start, to be honest. They're seeing how chatbot or AI can be used, but again, a lot of work has to go into quantifying the output as well, right? How efficient is it, right? If I have 10 people in my customer support team versus one chatbot, if my chatbot cost is the same, and the customer satisfaction is the same, is it really valuable to have a chatbot versus 10 people in the team, right? Or end of the day, you want customer to be more satisfied than he was previously. So that's what I think we will have to do. Or you need your 10 people to become so efficient that they have that they can handle the job of 100 people. So as your team grows, the organization grows, your team can still remain the same, and they're superhumans now. Either of the two things should happen, and I think in real estate that will take slightly longer for companies to arrive at that quantifiable number. That's the real benefit that they're deriving, and then we'll see adoption in multiple other aspects of the entire organization itself.
But as my question was more around the decision making side. So what I mean was, most of the real estate developers, what I'm seeing currently is only few of them who are more in the digital transformation journeys, having a CTO, CXO who has the knowledge of tech. Where I'm seeing a lot of, because I'm meeting a lot of startups who are deploying backend and AI in a more tangible, like how you said, your software is there. Mostly maybe the marketing people won't get that, right? A product, I would say a product manager or the CTO might get that, which we are not seeing in the real estate ecosystem as such. Do you feel that there can be the hindrance where the product which can be deployed is not able to be understood by the marketing leaders of the system, where a CTO being in the presence could have made the life easier for the Proptech startup?
Definitely. I think if there is a CTO in the entire organization, it makes them far more efficient in the sense of there is somebody to look at new age technology, look at how that can be integrated into existing workflows, how to remodel existing workflows to become far more efficient. That would definitely, make a difference. And I think a lot of real estate developers are also sort of getting into the space where they have a tech team in-house or have a couple of people who have deeper understanding of technology in-house. And we see this in this, I'll reference the same report again by Autodesk, the Design and Make 2025 report, where again, like I said, about 49% of decision makers are apprehensive when using technology, or they think that it's a disruption in a negative way, right? And that's probably because hiring that CTO or hiring a tech team is still not happening in most developers.
Agreed.
About 50% might have it, and that's probably why we're seeing these numbers. People who have knowledge and who have the expertise in-house are able to sort of decide better, adopt to technology better, and move faster compared to others. But I think everybody, like I said, everybody will get into that sort of game where everybody wants to stay ahead of the curve. Nobody wants to be left behind, and you will inevitably have to have some resource, maybe not a full-time CTO, maybe some sort of external advisor or somebody who you can sort of talk to about how to improve in efficiency and productivity of internal workflows and get rid of those legacy workflows which are time-consuming, not at all cost-effective, etc. So I think we will get there over a span of time. As of 2025, it's not there yet. I think probably 2027 is the target for us in the real estate space.
No, I agree, but do not want to start a debate here. But the survey, I think, is done mostly in North India, because in Bengaluru market, what I'm noticing, major real estate developers, be Prestige, even the Godrej, they are having those digital transformation journey already started 2 years back, and they already have a good CTO CXO who's understanding the whole ropes of the tech software and how it can be executed well. And they are also now trying to figure out the AI part, which is again not in a way where only chatbots or agents can be done. This is where I'm seeing market like in Mumbai or Delhi, where the developers still do not have major CTO or tech team in their place, and that's why a lot of startups, I'm noticing a pattern. Also, the major, I think, selling is happening, or the integration or adoption is happening in Bengaluru market. Would you deny this fact?
We've been lucky to start out of Bangalore, and we've seen great adoption in Bangalore. We don't know why that is, to be very honest, on why most technology gets adopted faster in Bangalore compared to other parts of the country. But I think most cities are very similar in how it operates, be it NCR, Bombay, Hyderabad, Bangalore. I think they're a few months apart here and there. But it's become a level playing ground, and like I said, nobody wants to be left behind. Right? Everybody wants to sort of be at the, what do you call, cusp of innovation, and everybody will look to do that. And considering these are people who've built billions of dollars in business and delivered so much value to customers, we would not be the right people to sort of judge their business acumen. So they've done something that's very right, and I'm sure they, if not today, tomorrow, the right decision will be taken by all of them.
So in next 5 years, I know many VCs must have asked you, but I want to understand, in next 5 years, where do you see Propall is going to be a part of this real estate ecosystem in a manner where you become the backbone of it, or where you become the complete use case scenario where all the construction and real estate developers are using? Where do you see Propall software to be down 2030?
So whether you're building a home or an airport or a metro station, from the idea of building this to actually getting it executed, we want to be the software that enables you to do this, and we will enable you to do this in a matter of minutes, not months or years, considering we use cutting edge technology to enable everything to increase productivity of our customers.
Recently, RealtyNXT did a closed door curation for Rustamji, where you were also being very much in demand by all the leaders who were present in the room. Unfortunately, you could not be part of it because you were raising funds. So tell us about the journey where you have raised fund. How are you using that fund for your expansion, and are you looking for more funds? In what manner?
So, I mean, just to start off, we've been very lucky to have the investors that we have as of today. We have quite a few institutional investors on board and multiple angel investors as well. And this journey has been very insightful in that sense. People have asked us questions that we might not have thought of at all. For example, where will you use those funds, right? So, to be honest, you start off when, how we started off is we had like a absolute need of the funds to actually build the team, build the software, etc. And we've reached a stage where we're almost breaking even, we will be profitable next month, and the money in the bank will be money in the bank, but that's an enabler for us, right? For example, building technology, hiring a resource that we absolutely need, although we want to do it in a frugal fashion, but that's going to increase the pace at which we grow, and we want to grow very fast, and that's what fundraising has enabled us to do. And coming to our investors, they've been super helpful in that sense, not just from a standpoint of raising funds from them because that's like a check mark, but to be honest, from a standpoint of supporting us when business was not going as well as it should have, right? So those things have been extremely good for us, and this entire journey has been super fruitful because we were successful in raising funds, one, and two, we got the right set of investors, and three, we actually deployed that capital in a way where we could become profitable rather than what you call burning more, right? So I think that journey, to be honest, has taught us a lot. How to raise funds, still build frugally, and still continue to grow at almost 30% month on month.
So when was Propall founded?
So we were founded in December of 2022, but that was, to be honest, something that we did in a more impulsive fashion. We did not know what we wanted to do with Propall. The idea was, okay, we'll incorporate the company first, and then we'll think about what we can do. Because the idea was, okay, we will build definitely something in the real estate space. We will build technology in the space. As of today, I don't know yet. That was the thought process when we were incorporating the company. So me and my co-founders, we incorporated the company. And that's when we started looking for solutions on what we can actually solve and deliver real impact in the space. Our first round was raised in November or December of 2023. And that was from a group of friends and family. So it was a very small round that we raised, and luckily it was not just limited to friends and family, considering what we had already showcased in the last 3-4 months. So the thing is, we took about 8-9 months to realize what we wanted to do, and then in 3 months we actually built like a prototype of what we wanted to do, and that's when we showcased it to friends and family, saying this is what we're doing. If you're interested, we can sort of we can have you on board, etc. And then we got few people, and then that got circulated in groups of people where they worked. For example, we got our first advisor from Microsoft, from a very senior position in Microsoft. We got a person called Milind Katti. He's from Pune. He's built a company called Demand Farm. So incredibly, what do you call, insightful people, as for lack of better word. To be honest, they're far more than insightful. They've helped us in every single aspect, especially him, because he's built a very successful SaaS business. And so we got really good investors, although they were not like the first circle friends and family, and they've reinvested. They've also sort of brought on more people in their space, and they've continued to raise 2 more rounds after that.
And tell us about the 2 rounds that you raised. By whom? And again, as I asked earlier also, what are you planning with those funds?
Right, so after that we raised another round from angel investors, but these were people who we did not know as friends or family. These were like serious angel investors. Mr. Milind Katti also reinvested, and then he brought on a few other serious angel investors who participated in the round. Then we went on to raise from 100x. So that was one round from few angels and 100x VC. Post 100x, we raised from a few other institutional investors, not in the news yet, but we went on to raise from 4-5 more institutional investors post the 100x. We've seen incredible acceptance in the investor space as of today, and we're also considering we're servicing some of the biggest construction companies, brand names that are household names. It's easier for us to communicate the value that we're delivering to these guys, because they see that, okay, if the biggest names have adopted it, there should be something that they're actually delivering. That's how the VCs used to see us. Coming to where we're using the funds, like I said, our first and absolute objective of raising the funds was to, one, build the team, get the exact resources we need, and second, deploy it on building the technology, whether it's servers, whether it's cloud, whether it's anything that would require us to absolutely push the product out. Those were the 2 main things that we had in mind while raising capital. But obviously we wanted to do it in a far more frugal fashion, because like you see, I mean, obviously you know far better that technology adoption in the space is not as fast as other industries, right? So we know that we're playing the long game here. It's not something where we can grow like Lovable or Cursor, where we hit $100 million in ARR in the next 12 months. So we know that will not happen, but we want to grow fast. And today we're growing at 30% month on month. But we've continued to grow fast while staying frugal, and we're hitting profitability next month. So that's a milestone that we had in mind, and we're actually hitting it before time in that sense.
So what's the current team size, and where are you planning to scale your team? As you said, in tech, but will you be also focusing having your office beyond Bengaluru's space as well?
As of today, we don't plan to. Our team size is about 20 people as of today, and we don't plan to increase the team size also, because like I said, we use a lot of AI tools internally as well. That's made the productivity of one developer far greater than what it was previously. And that's where we see there is no need to hire a new, resource at the moment. Coming to the office space, I don't think we would want to expand beyond Bangalore, considering that's been the space that we wanted to operate in. But if business compels us to open a space elsewhere, because like I said, real estate is a high-touch industry where meeting decision makers move things faster or moves the needle for you. If that's the absolute requirement, we would not hesitate to do so. But it should also make business sense, like I said, because we want to stay frugal. It will not make too much sense to open multiple offices in different places. So we'll sort of handle this in a more strategic manner, where we'll stick to Bangalore, and if there's an absolute need that this is going to investing 10 rupees will actually give us X amount of return on that, that's how we'll see it.
No, I agree. Strategic moves like this will make more sense, because in PropTech space, we have seen how burning money by few startups have given a wrong name to the PropTech ecosystem as well.
Right.
But coming to that, and I'm very much sure our startups and other founders would be interested to know, when it comes to raising funds, right? The conversation, has it changed or not? That's the perspective I want to get from you. Meaning, a year back or 2 years back, the VCs were very much hesitant to be funding in a real estate ecosystem because of the kind of, I would say, the mishappenings had happened in past. Also with regards to not realizing the fact that real estate can give them a quick turnaround of investor exit. Also, as you said also, that this is an ecosystem where you would see the rate getting slowly increase, or because of the way the market fluctuates in real estate, that also creates that kind of impact to any digital technology solution or any real estate developer also. So how the conversation now is happening when it comes to raising fund with the VC if we are present in this construction and PropTech space?
So surprisingly, we've not had one conversation there where that incident or that sort of scenario has come up where they're questioning that these were the things that had happened, what are your thoughts, or anything with respect to that, right? That context does not come up or has not come up with us at least. And we raised all our, what you call, funding in the funding winter, as they call it, right? So we were able to sort of talk to investors. The investors are very accepting of new age, cutting edge products, whether it's in PropTech or elsewhere. I think investors see it with a very open mind, and they're not limited to some incidents that had taken place in the recent past. And they've seen us as like any other technology business, and they clearly understand that being a company in the real estate space, you got to play the long game, right? It's a minimum of a 10-year journey that you need to look at. And we've been very lucky in that sense, where all of our investors are very patient, also very, very supportive in the sense where they understand that, okay, there are cycles, there are some months where you don't have business, but how can we help you in enabling you to do business better in the months which are actually going to sort of reap good results for you. So we've gone back to our investors with even negative things that we're not able to solve this. Do you have an idea on how we can look at this? And we've been very, very transparent with our investors, and our investors also have communicated in the same fashion where they're very supportive. They've never said that these are things that you should not do. They've always told that try it out, but if this not works, this is something that you can do, you can look at in that. So that's the tone of the conversation. And I think we have been lucky in that sense, where most of our investors are always there to give us guidance. And most of our angel investors also, we are in touch with them almost on a weekly basis, where we're giving them updates, telling them what to do, not because they ask us to do, but because we see value in talking to them. And that's how the relationship has been with all of our investors in that sense. And we don't stick to quarterly reports. We call up our investors if, as and when we feel that, okay, having a conversation with them will actually add value to the business. And that's how we're looking at this. And coming back to the point of the negative incidents that happened, it's never come up in a negative way. They also sort of brush it off, saying it's something that it's a one-off thing and we don't see it happening again.
No, I agree that would be one-off thing, but you're saying VCs are open when it comes to startups who are functioning in real estate ecosystem?
Definitely.
Okay. Because ROI, as we said, is not going to be quick, right? It might take you 10 years or more than that, because if especially in your B2B system you are. Because in B2C, we can see quick returns and everything, but in B2B, it's a long way. So you're saying VCs are open when it comes to the fundraise in real estate startup?
Definitely. There are a lot of people who are very open to investing only into real estate as well, right? Only into PropTech startup, as we call it. So the space is very evolved. The investor set is very mature. They look at you as a technology business rather than a business serving only to real estate. And that's the advantage that we have. And I think investors are far more, wise in that way on which industries to look at, because this is an industry which will never die in that sense.
True.
At the end of the day, it's a very human-centric business. You cannot build a building without humans.
Yes.
You cannot design a building without humans also. You still need the creativity of an architect. And that's how they look at it as well. Humans will remain, technology will remain. Technology will just enable humans to be superhumans. And that's what we are striving to do as well.
No, I understand, because this question also comes from the point of view last year during our India PropTech Demo Day. Few of the startups have brought to everyone's notice that recently in 2 years in real estate, if someone notices, suddenly the sustainability part has become like a buzzword. So now major VCs are doing funding in the clean tech or your smart tech or your tech which is more giving, I think, good environment solutions in terms of adopting the technology. And this is where, of course, they are also considered in the prop tech, but there was no needle being moved in other directions. That's where I wanted to understand your perspective, that now the scenario of raising funds have changed in real estate, right?
Definitely. So there are specific investors for specific things.
Right.
For sustainability, there are different set of investors who we would target. But in the early stages of raising capital, right, the stages that we are at, investors are very open. Most investors are agnostic in the way they look at you, although you are serving to the real estate space and it's a B2B SaaS business. But they are very understanding of how the industry is, and they're also very aware of how real estate works versus how some other industry works. That is very helpful considering you don't have to communicate all of these things. They already know about it.
Right.
We can have like a real in-depth conversation on what the business actually is delivering in terms of real value to the customers. And only basis of that is what investors will judge you, considering if you don't deliver value, there is no point in building a business. So
lastly, I want to ask around the VC is, as I understand, the conversation in the boardroom has changed. I am sure the conversation is now not starting with what is your moat, what is the market size. So what are the actual questions that they are asking you now?
So it's mostly with respect to tangible results that you can deliver to customers, right? And we also sort of very appreciative of such questions, because that's going to let us think deeper into what is the exact pain point I'm solving for our customers. And that exact pain point as of today for us is increasing efficiency of architects in construction companies and architecture studios. Right? We enable them to go from floor plan to interactive 3D walkthroughs in a matter of minutes, enabling far more efficient design communication than it was previously. This is one pain point we've solved very well, right? And that's what we also sort of need to think deeper in. How do I quantify this, right? And what we've seen is conversion rates go up by 30% when people are using our software, right? And the design communication time, there is a lot of back and forth in it. And this back and forth goes down by almost 40%, and you're able to actually execute projects faster. You can decide on the decision or decide on the design far more efficiently using our software. That's where those are the quantifiable metrics that we are solving, and those are questions that they ask. What is the real value you're delivering to your customers, right? More than moat, I think this is a far better question on how are you more impactfully delivering positive value to your customers. And that's what most investors also ask us on what's the pain point you're solving, what's the exact problem, how can you quantify it, what is the positive impact your customers are seeing, etc., etc.
So I'll take one question from that. What is the positive impact you are overall seeing with the customers of Propall?
So we are not just saving cost for them. So we are saving time, and time is a huge problem in the industry, because if you're, for example, taking 3 weeks to generate renders, etc., and this is just internally, right? For example, you're an architecture team, you got to take it to the decision makers. You got to have all of your renders, walkthroughs, everything ready so decision makers can actually decide on whether this can go out or not. That, if it's taking 3 weeks and the decision maker gives you feedback and it takes a 3-week cycle again, it's going to directly impact your top line, because the project execution itself will take longer. And considering there's limited bandwidth with respect to how many people can actually design plans, how many people, the architecture team is limited with respect to number of people, the resources that they have, etc. It should not affect the top line of the company by delaying the project, right? That's what we want to solve, where we want to increase efficiency in all of these factors so they can execute more projects rather than spending so much time on this project that this project itself gets dragged on and delayed, where you don't even start execution, you start having to delay execution just because your design process itself is getting delayed here. And again, with respect to how efficiently architect can come up with iterations as well. Right. In case as a decision maker you give feedback, how quickly can you come up with iterations? In our software you can do it in real time rather than going back and forth again. Right? So those are things that we are solving. Like I said, you just have to build a floor plan and have your mood board ready, and you can get an interactive walkthrough in a matter of minutes. And today, it's okay even if you don't have a mood board or a floor plan, you can do that on our own software and get a walkthrough. So your mood board generation and multiple iterations of your mood board generation as well, right, can happen in a matter of minutes. Right. And then you can sort of generate floor plans that are far more efficient, because as a human, I have my own limitations. Right? Technology is going to enable me to come out of those limitations and give me a space optimization score, for example. Right? Build more efficient floor plans and then create walkthroughs. Even in walkthroughs, if you're walking freely, completely throughout the real estate, that's a different experience where you can walk around, make any changes that you want, right? But what if you want still renders, right? An architect has to set up each frame and then understand if this is a better frame or anything else is a better frame. What if AI assists you to do that? It gives you 5 renders automatically and tells you that these are the 5 best frames. If you don't like this, you can have another set of 5 frames at almost instantaneously, at no time spent by the architect thinking whether the camera angle should be a 5 degrees here or 5 degrees there, right? And even for the videos, right? Videos, all of these things are very important communicating design, whether it's to the end customer or the internal decision maker. And for a video to be created, you need to set a camera path and all of those things, which take a lot of time, right? And then once you set it, you're not sure if that is the best way of showcasing the real estate. What if AI does that for you? Because it's trained on millions of floor plans, it understands what's the best camera path already. If you don't like it, it can generate another camera path for you instantaneously, rather than you having to spend so much time in doing all this. So you can focus on being creative. You can focus on understanding clients' requirement much better, rather than spending time on all of these monotonous tasks.
True.
And that's what we're enabling.
So Sanjeev, I want to understand from a home buyer perspective, even in Bombay market, I'm sure you can tell us what happens in Bangalore market, but in Mumbai market, whoever is selling above 4 or 5 CR comes under the luxury segment or premium luxury segment, where they provide the flats into a bare shell, where the home buyer can get the interior designer involved, and then the whole floor plan and the understanding of where the washroom will be or where the bedroom will be or what kind of sourcing of materials that can be done by the interior designers can be showcased in the visuals. So I want to understand, as a home buyer, if I want to see the images before paying to so many people, be the architect, interior designer and all, as a customer, can I use the Propall software where I can put my floor plan, the complete bare shell, and when I can visualize where I want my living room or where I would want my washroom, from the time to when I see certain materials that are in real time, be the Asian Paints paint or certain brands faucets, certain brands sofas, all of that, if I want to picturize or visualize in your software, can I do it on my own rather than getting hand-holded by the architect or interior designer?
So we are a B2B tool in that sense. So we feel professionals having access to our platform is better than individuals having access to our platform.
Right.
So we add value to architects, interior designers, construction companies. But from a capability standpoint, absolutely, you can do everything that you mentioned. So for example, an architect can exactly show you how your home will look like, or how a bedroom will look like, for example, with some companies paint, another companies sanitary ware, another companies tiles, and some other companies furniture, right? We have built an extensive catalog with which you can do this. We've also partnered with multiple brands that are homegrown names in India, where you can have real world SKUs available of what they have in the market. Right. You can use that, or just an image of whatever you want. You can upload that on our software and visualize it. So you can exactly visualize how you would like it to be, with a different company on the wall for paints, different company for gypsum, different company for tiles, different company for sanitary ware, etc. And all of this can come together when you download your bill of quantities and all of whatever changes you make. The other capability that you offer is you don't have to create multiple renders, or the architect does not have to create multiple renders just to make sure, okay, with vitrified tiles this is how it looks and with marble this is how it looks. You can have all those options in one walkthrough itself. Okay. Walk through the space, make any number of changes that you want. Right?
This is real time.
In real time.
Okay.
Right? Any number of changes you want in anything that you see. Right? And then once you're happy with whatever it looks like, right, happy with the output, the architect can directly download a bill of quantities and bill of materials of exactly the configuration that you preferred. And that, again, coming to efficiency, that saves a lot of time for our customers, and that's what we are striving to do for architects and interior designers.
So what is the difference of the accuracies? Why I'm trying to ask this, because if I have certain, maybe a living room and 2 different sourcing, I'm trying to see how it looks. And in past, I've seen that every interior designer quotes basis on how many renders you're asking for, right? So I want to see these 2 sourcing materials of different marbles or different furnitures in the same living space. If I take a render image, the difference I've seen is more of 10 to 15% of the still image, and when it comes to your final output in existence. So when it comes to the walkthrough, what is the accuracy difference of if I'm visualizing and I'm noticing this is how it will be, this is what I can choose. Once it's chosen, how different it is when I see a render image and while I'm seeing the walkthrough.
Right. I think they'll break it down to 2 parts. One is the cost, and second one is the quality of it, right?
Right.
The first one is cost. Today, because so much work has to go into creating these renders, that's why they charge you per render.
Yes.
But using our software, they will not have to do that, considering we don't charge you per render. We charge you on a usage-based pricing basis.
Okay. When you say usage-based pricing, meaning?
So we charge 15,000 rupees per user per month. and that's about it. And as you add more users, the cost for the second user goes down dramatically.
And how many renders I want to take
As
out
many
of
as
it?
you want.
That's interesting, because as a home buyer, I've seen in past with my past home where I've asked for the interior designer for the render, and each render they are charging because they are making very sure
Correct.
first you finalize. Otherwise, if you ask other render image of the same different sourcing materials, it will be charge you extra.
True, because today you have to 3D model everything, right?
Yes.
It painstakingly sit and model everything, put everything together. You need hardware for it. For example, you need rendering machines for it. Right, that's an investment for them. They need to also invest in legacy software that enables us you to do the 3D modeling.
Right.
So that's a cost for them again. And you got to pay for this inevitably. I mean, you got to have all this before you can actually onboard a customer, right? So it's an upfront cost for them. So with us, you don't need hardware. You can do it on your phone. You don't need those expensive softwares, and you don't need that expensive skill or like time to learn that skill of 3D modeling also. Why they charge you per render is also might be because they're outsourcing it to 3D designing agencies, right? And because they have invested in that hardware and software. So this inefficiency is going away with our by using Propall.
No, the reason is not
And,
the outsource, the kind of team which is put together, who is doing all of this work of
Right,
render, which
it's
is
also
taking
expensive.
weeks. Yes, that's expensive. That's why it's charged.
Absolutely, yeah, that's why it's charged.
Yeah.
And with us, you don't have to use all that because anybody can use our software and you can use it on your phone itself. And coming back to the renders, you can take as many renders as you want. If you want still renders, if you don't want still renders, you can enable the home buyer or the decision maker to walk through the space, make as many changes as they'd like, because that's more experiential in nature, where they feel that actually walking through the space on how the exact home would look like when it's physically built. And you're also showing the options also in the same thing. Right? So it's far more engaging and experiential, and they exactly understand the dimensions rather than a still image where you can't really gauge the dimensions exactly. This gives them an understanding of, okay, this is the width of my corridor, and if I have like a white marble versus a brown marble, this is how it's going to affect
So what is
how it
the
looks like.
accuracy of the visual?
So with a still render, it can be as accurate as you want. If you want it to be 8K, you want it to be 12K, it can be the same. Right? But with respect to the walkthrough is usually about 10 to 15% lower in quality compared to the still render, considering we need to make it light enough for it to load on all devices, light enough for you to walk through the space. So that's the trade-off that we have. Your engagement goes up, but the quality goes down by about 10%. But if you want a still image, it can be as high as you want it to be.
That's interesting. But Sanjeev, as a customer, to be very honest, and I'm sure home buyers in Mumbai market would agree, whoever is buying the bare shell homes, whoever is visualizing the house from the scratch, where they can get such software where they can see the materials which they are sourcing, the exact look or the vision they have for their house, where they can immediately get, as you said, in minutes rather than wait for weeks. Don't you think you should explore this customer market too?
Yeah, B2C is something that we have looked at, to be honest. But we haven't found that conviction to go that route, and that's why we are in the B2B route. We are trying to make, like I said, these architects and interior designers and construction companies, these individual superhumans. That's what our focus is right now. And then going forward, when there's a level playing ground, like we mentioned, these are very creative, skillful people, right? We're trying to make them superhumans as of today. And then going forward, if there is an opportunity where we have to look at the B2C space, we would be open to do so, where empowering the end user itself to design the space they would like to. But as of today, there is no focus on that, considering we are purely focused on delivering real impact to architects and construction companies.
But definitely you should look into it, because as a home buyer myself, I'm quite kicked with this idea of having a software where I can just see the vision I want to see, how this whole house would be turned out to be. Also making sure that it's in minutes given to me and I can immediately know exactly what material I want that, or exactly to tell interior designer also the brief, because in brief also I'm sure home buyers will agree, it takes time for the brainstorming or the lot of images or Pinterest going back and forth. I rather have a software which shows me my exact vision, and that can be executed very well by the contractor or by the interior designing. But coming to this, of course, you should look into it, because I feel there's a small market, but I'm sure our Mumbai home buyers will agree there's a huge market for this, especially in this particular city, where every home which is beyond 4 crores are having a bare shell homes, and they have to work it out with the scratch how it will be and how the look will turn out to be. But lastly, I want to know from you is, As an entrepreneur who's been in this journey in prop tech ecosystem, I have asked this previously with a lot of leaders, and I'm going to ask you as well because you have raised funds, you have been in a journey where you are giving competition to even the well-known players in the market, and your turnaround with the time of usage of AI with the software is being quite efficient is what I'm also hearing from real estate developers. What will be your advice to all the young entrepreneurs who are a bit hesitant or who still wants to try their luck or their innovation in construction tech and prop tech but are not able to understand how to go about it?
I think starting off is the biggest problem for most people. People hear these terms such as funding winter or the entire uncertainty in the global economic scenario as of today. Right. So there is a very negative image that is painted, and I think if you really want to start off, you shouldn't think too much. Start off and then let's see where things go. Right? Because if you really want to become somebody who's going to play the 10-year or 20-year or 30-year game, you got to adapt, evolve, and constantly sort of be on your toes, right? And to do that, you need to start off. So I don't think you should think too much to start. I think you should start off and then think too much on how you can go from 1 to 10 and then 10 to 100, etc. So for somebody just starting off, I think the best advice would be to don't think too much, don't complicate anything. If you have an idea, I think you should start. There is a lot of help available in public domains. For example, we were incubated at NSR Cell, IIM Bangalore. Right, and they provided us immense help. They gave us a grant which basically almost saved the company at one point in time, before we raised our first round also. Right, and we also got incubated ISB post that, and then so there has been help. So ISB helped us with fundraising. IIM Bangalore has helped us with almost everything possible. We are super grateful to them. And I think all of these things come at no cost to you. They don't charge you equity. They don't charge you money. So it's just purely based on merit.
Right.
And you can take help from these resources that are available. Also, I think there is a lot of resource available in people around us, right, which we don't really notice. Maybe someone is really good at something, but you don't have the need to talk to that person about what they're really good at today. But once you start off and you start noticing that, okay, this person has this kind of skill set, this person has this kind of skill set, you can start sort of bringing all of them together to make your vision come to life. And for this to happen, again, I think I should reiterate, just start off and then you can sort of have that entire structure come into picture on how you want to take it forward.
Okay. So Sanjeev, coming to our rapid fire round, which is going to be quick because this is where you can't think a lot or overthink. Whatever first thought comes to your mind, you have to tell us and tell our viewers because it gives a bit of a sight of your personal personality, I would say, also the professional way, the way you would think in impromptu situations. Let's put it like that. So first question would be one Indian city where Propall will make the biggest impact in the next 2 years.
Bangalore.
Okay. The most tech forward developer in India today according to you?
I hate taking names, but I think Prestige is one name that I can think of at the top of my head.
I agree with that one. A PropTech startup, apart from Propall of course, you think is genuinely solving a big problem?
I think Continue is doing a great job.
Yeah. One old school real estate habit you would love to kill it off forever?
Under the table transactions.
Right. But that happens in every sector, no?
Sure.
What can we say to that? So what's harder, convincing investors or convincing real estate developers?
Convincing investors for sure.
Okay, why?
Real estate developers see the value because they understand the game, they understand the space, they understand the value that they will derive.
Right.
With investors, I think the ratio will always be skewed in the sense that you talk to 100 people, probably you just need one investor. So only one person will say yes, 99 will say no. So the ratio will always be that.
True.
Acceptance is higher in real estate developers compared to investors.
Yeah, because developers know the real pain points and they exactly know where the need gap is. Okay, so if you could run any global PropTech company other than your own, which one would it be and why?
Sort of not run anything. I love Propall and we'd make this a global company. But if I were to think of running any other company other than Propall, I think it would be Prestige or Brigade or any of those kind of companies. But I'd rather make Propall a global company and run Propall instead of looking at other things.
Nice. But you very conveniently took developer's name, not a Proptech company.
They're also tech forward. Like for example, like we discussed, both of them have CTOs.
Right.
They're very tech forward in nature. Brigade is doing a lot of innovation with respect to Reap, etc.
Yes.
Prestige CEO CTO is also very active in the RealtyNXT events also.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So we've seen a lot of acceptance of new age, cutting edge technology from their end, and I think they're doing everything in their capacity to innovate and bring in that culture of new age technology adoption.
True. Most overhyped buzzword in PropTech currently you feel it is?
AI, but that's in every sector.
Yeah.
I think there are multiple buzzwords in PropTech. There is AR, VR again. There is walkthrough also is something like a
Yes.
buzzword.
Yeah.
I think now AI is the buzzword of the entire world.
So most underrated trend that nobody is paying attention to yet, and it can be in PropTech.
Maybe, I'm not sure to be honest, because there are no trends that nobody is giving attention to. But like you said, there are more softwares in sales and marketing, and there are multiple softwares that are really good, which are more technical in nature, which people should notice, according to me.
True, I agree. Your dream client, one architect or developer you would love to onboard, and why? You have to name it.
If I were to name it, I think Prestige would be a customer considering the scale that they have, or Shobha considering the global reach that they have currently.
Right. And
That would be the company because, for example, Prestige has a lot of scale in the country, and Shobha has it overseas as well. They're doing a lot of developments in the Middle East.
yes.
So that's what I would consider.
Worst piece of advice that has been ever given to you once you pondered over the entrepreneur journey? Not necessarily you must have followed it, but it still makes you chuckle.
Things that make you change your habit, right? So, for example, it's very difficult to change my habit of not solving every problem I see, right? So, when somebody comes and tells you that, okay, maybe you should not solve problems, for me as an individual, I don't know what's a good problem, what's a bad problem. A problem is a problem, right? And that's a bad habit that I have, where I roll up my sleeves and try to solve problems. But that's an advice I've received multiple times, saying you need to stick to problems that affect you.
But you have considered as a worst advice, right?
Sort of, when they gave it to me, yes, to be very honest. But over time, I've realized that there are some problems that we should not try solving.
And the best advice that you have ever received in the Propall journey, which you still follow now?
Which we still follow now. The best advice is capture one micro market. Don't try to diversify. Even if there is acceptance everywhere in the world, don't try to become a global company on day one.
Right.
Crack one market, have 60 to 80% market share in that market, and then look elsewhere. So put your heads down, core execution, irrespective of the money in the bank, irrespective of the rounds you've raised. Execution is what matters. Capturing one market first and duplicating that strategy elsewhere is what will make sense. And that's been one advice we've constantly stuck to from the time we've heard it.
No, I agree, and this is where I'll plug in. You should capture the micro market of customers who are buying luxury bare shell homes, who can get the advantage of your software as well.
Sure, someday.
Okay. One Propall feature you would never compromise on, no matter what.
And enabling architects, construction companies, interior designers, contractors, etc., to communicate design very, very efficiently in a matter of minutes, so that they don't lose their customer and they see real tangible impact. That's something that we will never compromise. We want to deliver real impact that will actually make all of these skillful individuals far more capable and explore potential that they didn't know they have.
And if tomorrow every home buyer had a VR headset, would Propall be unstoppable or obsolete?
We would be unstoppable if everybody had a VR headset, but we're not going that route of making it a VR software, to be honest, because we don't believe in that vision that people will have VR headsets. We feel AR or mixed reality is something that people might try. Mixed reality also, we don't really believe in that. AR is something that I really truly believe in, that the world is moving towards. VR, we haven't seen too much adoption. But we want to become a little more of a technical tool in that sense, where we are going from idea to everything you need to execute the project. And that's why we are mostly in that, space where we're enabling skillful architects, engineers, etc., to go from concept to the end final design with your bill of quantities, bill of materials, your BIM, everything, to move into physical construction.
We'll get an advantage out of
We'll
it.
definitely get an advantage. We'd be unstoppable.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the short answer to it.
But how do you want to explain that to our audience? Why would
Yeah,
you
so we are more of a technical tool. We just don't enable you to visualize. We enable architects to become efficient from idea to execution. And that's what we are enabling our customers, that are architects, construction companies, contractors, to do. Visualization is one aspect of it.
So your guilty pleasure app that secretly inspires how you think about Propall UX.
I think LinkedIn, to be honest,
Okay.
because all of our decision makers, all of our customers are on LinkedIn. So it helps me think on how they think, because most of them are very vocal on LinkedIn. But I think I'm too into LinkedIn. I use too much of LinkedIn, and I should probably control myself from using so much LinkedIn on a daily basis.
But that's a good thing also for networking, to get the right
Definitely.
customers also.
Yeah.
I completely agree, LinkedIn is a must. So lastly, I want to ask you is, if home buyers could say just one line after seeing a Propall walkthrough, what would you want it to be?
That I have complete clarity on what I'm actually buying myself into.
Nice. Thank you, Sanjeev, for joining us today. It was lovely having you in Let's Talk Business by RealtyNXT. We met last year in India Proptech Demo Day, and when I had met you, you showed a lot of potential in your product as well, the kind of vision you had, and it's great we sat together so that our viewers could know more about you, your product, your journey, and I wish you all the best, great success in coming years as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for calling me, and it was a great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.